Welcome to Dying to Know, where we open up about everything that comes with losing a loved one.
Because the only thing that's worse than death is not being able to talk about it.
We're your Bereavement Babes, Leah and Rachel, and today we're talking about grief and media. So I just want to start off saying that I sound crazy, and I meant to say that.
Why, Leah?
Because I have a cold, or I'm getting over a cold.
Weren't you partying?
No, that had nothing to do with that. I did not catch COVID. It was some weird
Well,
summer.
I didn't mean that. I just meant like you were screaming, singing along to the music. Maybe
I don't think it had to do with anything with going out, because no one else got sick going out.
Oh, okay.
So then I would blame it on going out.
Okay. I thought it was more of a sore throat from having a little too much fun.
No, don't try to ruin my summer. It's just a little cold. So if I sound a little froggy.
Nasally.
Yeah, a little nasally.
I love that sound. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I love it when I have a little
I think because I'm hearing my voice internally, so I don't hear what you hear, but I'm going to hear it, and I'm sure I'll be disgusted. Okay, anywho. So grief and media.
Yes.
I feel like it's a lot of grief being shown on a lot of different television shows, movies, songs, and then definitely it shows up in like social media as well. So I'm excited to talk to you about these movies and TV shows.
Yes, and I actually have a fun little question for you.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to jump in.
Okay.
I've been watching this one show called Ghosts. It is on Paramount Plus.
Yeah,
it's like a goofy, fun death show, I guess.
Right, because it's the main character can see people who die.
Yes, she can see who's haunting her mansion.
Oh, okay.
But what you learn is the ghosts are stuck in the outfits that they die in.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you, what would be your eternal outfit if you can choose it?
Eternal? That's one hell of an outfit.
Yeah.
Like, what am I wearing, or like what designer am I wearing?
No, like what are you wearing? And if you can't think of like the outfit you would want, what would you absolutely not want to be stuck in?
What would I not want to be stuck in? I guess like, I don't want to be buried in flats. Maybe I want to be buried in sneakers. I don't know, a comfortable shoe. But I don't like wearing shoes, so now I'm thinking like I want to be buried in socks.
Well, because there's like a guy on there who died and he didn't have any pants on. He's stuck in a button-down, no pants, no underwear. Or
because he got to choose, or that's how he did.
That's how he died.
Because it's how you died.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so they all died from these like fun, or not fun, but these like crazy freak accidents where one guy is stuck with an arrow in his neck.
Okay, yeah, I've seen the like commercials.
So it's or like I know I would not want to be stuck in like a damp bathing suit for the rest of eternity. Like imagine if you died.
I guess that is right. Or like a wet sock, like a wet shoe or something.
Yeah. Oh my God. Could you imagine for eternity?
Or wedgies, like underwear that give you wedgies. Okay, maybe things like that. Okay.
Yeah, like is there something you couldn't imagine being in, or what you would want to be in for the rest of your?
No, we're gonna have to circle back on this.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe like contacts. Because my contacts start to burn after a while, so hopefully I die with glasses on. That's something that would irritate.
The guy doesn't feel the arrow in his neck, so maybe you wouldn't. I think.
But you just said something I wouldn't want to be buried in because I would be uncomfortable.
Yeah, this is your contacts.
That's the first thing that comes to mind. Or maybe you can wrap back when they come back around.
We can come. Maybe we'll.
We'll have to close with that. What about? Do you know what yours is though?
I think if. I don't know, because there's one girl who dies during prom, and like she's in her little prom dress, and I feel like I wouldn't mind being
like
dressy,
dressed up forever.
I think.
Okay.
I think my absolute nightmare would be stuck in a damp bathing suit.
Okay. I know you always say something comfortable.
Yeah.
Right?
But you never know what like cute little ghosts might be popping up, so you know.
Is the show Ghost also about, is that your like show about grief and stuff? Seems more like soft.
It is
which
soft,
is nice.
But they go through a whole, like everyone's journey of like how they've died and what like they've gotten there, and some of their stories do get very deep.
Yeah.
There are episodes where you might tear up, so it is a great show to see because it's all these different like time periods and how like they've grown as friends. So it is a beautiful experience to like kind of hear everyone's story. Yeah. But it's definitely on the lighter spectrum of grief and media.
Okay.
Yeah. But I thought it was a fun little like jump into question.
No, I appreciate it.
I was ready for you.
Do you feel like it's increased in media? Because you know how they say like, what is it? Art imitates life, or life imitates art. So like, do you feel like that's happening in shows? Because I feel like everything I watch kind of taps on it, whether it's like someone actually dying or it's like ambiguous grief. But I feel like, I don't know if I'm drawn to shows like that or it's just that it's popping up everywhere.
It's almost like I'm not sure if, because now grief is so present in my life, where I felt like for a while I was like, damn, everything I turn
where you don't notice it. It's like one of those things, like you buy a car, you see it everywhere type of thing. Yeah.
No, because I feel like I remember right after my dad died, me and my mom were like, all right, we need to binge Something's Happy, so we watched Grace and Frankie.
Oh yeah, I heard it's good.
Oh my god, it's so
my mom
cute.
and Ben watched that.
But like as you go in, all of a sudden like they're older, so it's just I feel like it's everywhere, and I'm more definitely aware of it. Like when something comes up, or I'm more aware of like if anything's happening to a dad, I'm like, oh my god, like and ready to cry. Yeah. Because so I don't know if it's an increase because
you just see it more because you're in it. I think so too. Maybe that is
it's something I should look up.
Yeah. Maybe it is. But no, I agree with you with the dad thing and grief stuff. Because like during Christmas, me and Ben watched Merry Little Batman. So it's like Batman has a son. I'm not deep into like the comic book life. I know my brothers are, so they'll be able to like divulge the story. I didn't know Batman had a son, but I guess in one universe he does. And he goes on this mission, and then I think if something went bad during the mission, it would like trigger the house to like play this video for his son.
Oh my god!
So he was like, "If you're watching this, then it means I'm dead." And it like shows all the videos of like how he should shave and stuff like that. And Ben was like, "I'm about to cry," and I was like, "And it's a cartoon, but it is touching."
No, I know.
And I was like, "Oh, that kind of like was a gut punch."
Yeah,
a little bit.
No, I think I saw like a post somewhere where it was just like, it's not good to say like I can't imagine what you're going through.
Yeah,
because in reality, if you sit there, you can imagine it, and I feel like that is the beauty of like grief and media is that, that we see these shows like that where it's just like we might not ever experience it, but it gives you, how you said that you didn't expect them to dive so deep into it, but it helps you kind of imagine like what they're going through, and like kind of gives you the feeling of like, okay, this is how hard it actually is.
Exactly.
Where it's just like you can imagine what someone is going through, and it gives you something to like, I guess, mark back to like kind of understand people's grief.
Or I guess if you see it or hear about it, you get like a
not that you should be like, oh, I can imagine because I saw Breaking Bad, but
exactly,
it gives you kind of a point of
reference. To like empathize a little bit. I think the other show also, this is a little bit more gruesome, but this was Walking Dead, so I was like Walking Dead obsessed when it came out. Another spoiler alert, and that's a comic world too, right? I think it's based on a comic book. Yeah. I think the show was. I'm positive. I'm 99.9% what it was. But anywho, a loved character on the show, another spoiler alert, Glenn, gets killed.
I feel like I remember the Glenn.
I feel like the internet went crazy when he died. Yeah. So long story short, they meet Negan, who's a villain in the show. He carries this bag he calls her Lucille, which he wraps in barbed wire. So like obviously the show is like post-apocalyptic, and it's a group of people who are like traveling and trying to find like shelter and fight these zombies. And they came across Negan's camp. I can't remember how. He had them all on their knees in a circle. It's how the season finale. Was it the season finale? I think it was. And he's like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And the camera is just panning. You're like, somebody is about to die. Because everyone's going to, not everyone, but like more than likely characters are going to die throughout the show. Like, it's zombies. People are getting bit. Then you realize the virus is in you. I don't know. That show like really gave you on a roller coaster. I think it's still going on, but I'm not watching it anymore.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I feel like they dragged it out. Too much of a good thing is a bad thing. But anyway, it was panning to like everyone in this circle. And I think the new season when it came on, like we all realized it was Glenn, and everyone loved Glenn. Like he was the kid who was like, you know, the underdog, and like he was sweet and he was helpful, and like he fell in love on the show. And I remember people were like, I am not watching the show anymore.
No, I remember people like going,
yes, it was like a visceral like upset. And I was like, but everyone dies on the show, and we knew this was coming, but people didn't want it to be him. So I thought like with grief and media and like people dying specifically, because when you watch a show, you grow to like characters.
Yeah, they become,
and you even be like, I'm pissed because they took, like you start to like really dive into the world. And I think that was like one for me where like a lot of people were like, I am pissed at the writers. And it was kind of like shocking that they chose him to kill, but they needed a good one. Like it needed to be like a main storyline. But yeah, I just felt like that was a good like representation. And then we also have like true crime shows, which I feel like go a little too deep sometimes.
I know.
Because it really will show the bodies or like crime scene photos. And then I think like Insecure and other like shows that we've watched have dealt with it, I think, in a really good way.
I know. One of the shows for me that I actually watched recently was Firefly Lane with I know it's Katherine Heigl. I can't remember. I think it's Sarah Chalk is the other girl.
What's this on?
It is on Netflix. I believe it's
Okay.
I don't know if it's a newer one. I think it's like newer-ish.
Okay.
And it's not really, I wouldn't say the main base, like goal of it is like death. It's more about like this beautiful friendship that starts from like a middle school, high school age that like blossoms into adulthood.
Okay.
And it was just like the way that they handled this friendship. One, it was just like, oh my, like it makes you realize like who your best friend is and who it is that you can't live without.
Okay.
But eventually it's just like one of the friends finds out that they have cancer, and it's like how they planned everything out for their best friend who they knew couldn't deal with like going to their funeral, just like had me bawling the whole like end of it, because it just, I feel like as I've gotten older and as I've just seen like different friends do celebrations of life instead of funerals, it's really made me like think about like how I want to map out my ending. And I feel like it was just such a beautiful, like perfect
like ceremony for her.
Yes,
like to remember her.
How to deal with like.
So their friends planned it. Is she still alive, or this is?
Well, one friend did pass away, so instead like they're all about to like walk into the funeral home, and the husband of like the friend who just died gives Katherine Heigl, who's still alive, this box.
Okay.
And she's like, I know you can't walk into this funeral. I know you're not gonna make it inside. So here's like what you need to get through this. And it's an iPod and like I think a picture of like a celebrity crush that they had, and it's a perfect.
So she sat there through the.
It's a perfectly like curated playlist. She's dancing, and it's like I forgot if it was like the Karate Kid, like a celebrity crush. No, so the picture, like it was just like a perfect ending, and it's just like she plans out everything so amazingly
to make sure of her friends, even though
that you can heal the way that you're gonna need to heal after like your death. And I feel like that made me just like, what, like how do I want people to feel? Like how do I want like friends and family to like know like, okay, you're gonna get through this because I know like what you need and like what you can give them. And I feel like I just remember thinking like you're so rushed into the funeral process.
You are.
That it's just like
someone already did it for you.
Yes, and I know you don't always get lucky enough to really plan out like how you want to end life. But it was just like, for me, that show just like gave this like beautiful moment. It's just like, it's never too soon to start thinking about it, because it's just like I want my best friend to know like and have everything that they need. Yeah. So I feel like that show for me, like I wasn't expecting death to be like big and present in it, but I feel like they just had this beautiful way of showing like how to give your friends and like how to give your loved ones what they like need, even though you're leaving them. And like they're the one, like it's just like it was like this opposite thing, but everything just turned out so beautiful. And it's like you're just gonna cry the whole time. And I'm not a crier.
That's a fact.
Do you remember the first movie you cried to because of like death or
while you were talking? I don't know if it's the first one, but while you were talking, I don't know, I was thinking about Still Magnolias.
Oh, I've never seen that.
You've never seen it?
I always mean to, but I've never seen it.
Oh, not the black one or the white one?
No,
damn, that's such a good movie. That's like a girly coming of age.
I know. I always mean to.
I'm shocked. You've seen everything.
I always see it pop up too. I'm like, oh, I should probably give it a try.
Do you know what it's about though?
I know it's like, isn't it Southern?
Like, what is that?
Like it takes place in South?
I guess. Okay, yeah, sure.
But that's about it.
You know, I'm not saying another thing.
Okay.
It made me think of Still Magnolias. And I think that might have been like the first. Oh no, My Girl. And I used to run that movie up.
Yeah.
And still, fuck bees.
Oh my God,
yeah.
I know. No, my first one was Land Before Time, when he sees his shadow and thinks it's his mother. Oh my God.
I don't remember that. But they all die, don't they?
Not. I don't know.
Because they're dinosaurs.
Well, yeah, I know they're dinosaurs, but Littlefoot, like the baby.
I remember Littlefoot.
Littlefoot, like, loses his mom, and, like, he's walking, and he sees a big shadow, and he's like, this is my, like, he thinks it's his mother, and it's not his mom. And I just remember being a little kid, like, in my living room crying. And, like, yeah. Like, asking my mom, like, you can never leave me.
You can never.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I remember that being, like, my first moment of, like, oh, wow. This like, that sad. Can happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, Stuart Little, if we're going back that far.
Stuart Little?
Yeah, when Stuart comes home and the cat tells him that they didn't love him and they cut his face out of all the pictures, but it was because they made posters.
Oh, my God, yes.
That broke me. Yeah, it really did.
See, yeah, and it's like, do you ever think, like, should we be that young and, like, going through that, or like are there wrong ways to do it? Like, is it too evil to make a cat be doing, like, I don't know, maybe it's like helping us desensitize ourselves to like go into that. Like, if you start them young, then you're used to seeing like things lost. But then also, if kids are experiencing death too,
you put it, because I think that's what they do. Like, they put stuff in kids shows or in movies to, like, I'm assuming to help foster conversation, because I really want to see Inside Out. I keep hearing good things about it, like, about your feelings.
My
and I know the
niece
second one came out.
She's like, there's some scary bits, but it was a good movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I guess, like, because, you know, like, now as an adult, when we watch a child's movie, you're like, oh, I'm catching stuff I never did.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that helps to, like, bridge the gap in adults and kids talking about it. So maybe that's why it happened.
It's funny because, like, I feel like I was so aware of it, and I remember being so sad as a kid, and then you go through this, like, weird stage where, like, oh, yeah, all the parents are dead. And now older, like, I cry if, like, anything is wrong.
If anything happens
where,
in
like,
the show
now. I feel like you go through this weird period where it's just like, oh, yeah, like, someone always dies in a movie, and now I'm just like, they killed him.
Yeah, now I'm like, I can't believe it. Like, you're attached to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of desensitization, am I saying that right?
I think so.
Okay, I feel like as a society, we all are desensitized to a lot of grief and, like, death because of things that happen in the media. Like, we're talking about TV and movie, but we're also, like, talking about news and, like, when people get killed now, like, with police killings or mass shootings.
Yeah.
Especially social media, too. Like, that's another point. But let me start with a definition, like I always do. So, desensitization, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to say that again, so I hope everyone caught that. Is the process or treatment by which repeated exposure lessens emotional responses to a negative situation or event. This is from MD Dr. Brian Bruno, which I thought was really good. Mm-hmm. And just some thoughts in that article was like the frequency of which we experience something can lessen our sensitivity to it. So the more death you experience, you become desensitized to it, which impacts the way you empathize, mourn, and grieve. So we were talking about as kids how, like, at first we were just kind of like, oh, this person died. Yeah. And I've talked to kids before who have experienced, like, grandparents and stuff, and if they bring them up, they be like, yeah, my grandfather died. Like, they say it, like, very deadpan, and you're just kind of like, oh, okay, like, do you miss him? Like, you kind of have those conversations. But then now as an adult, I'm like, it ruins my day. Yeah. Or I'm like, after watching something like that, I need to kind of, like, switch gears and turn something on happy to kind of level
100%
me out, to change my, like, I don't know, my internal emotions. Yeah. Are you feeling the same way too when you do things like that?
I don't know if it was desensitization. Yeah. I think it was losing someone close to me that really, like, switched my gears completely. Yeah. And not that I could, like, handle any death in any movie, like, perfectly or anything like that, but I feel like I feel it more now because I'm like, I know what that loss, like, really, really feels like, where I feel like it's always explained to you as, like, as you get older, like, and, like, your grandparents are gonna die because that's, like, like, it's, like, the way of life. But when I guess when you do lose that, it's just so unexpected. You never know it's gonna, and, like, just, like, losing my dad was just rocked my whole world. Like, I feel like every character that I watch is just like, oh my God, that's what it felt like to, like, lose my dad. Like, This Is Us. Oh my, like,
I know, I gotta rewatch it.
This Is Us was so hard to get through, and I feel like you could just feel because it's based on the 3 siblings, and I feel like every episode in some weird way you're relating to one of these siblings and, like, what it felt like to lose their dad, and like watching them grow older. It's just like accomplishing things, and, like, your dad not being, it's just, I feel like you relate to it so much more once you're, like, that close loss hits you.
Yeah, I think so. Like, when you experience it closely and then now you're seeing it in media. So maybe it has not desensitized us. It's made us more sensitive to it since we had a firsthand experience in our real life.
I think so. And I mean, it's like like, you grieve in different ways. It hits people in different ways. Yeah. Where I feel like, personally, at least for me, it was like once like, that big loss, like, hit me, where I feel like I could handle anything, and I was proud I never cried during movies or anything like that. Like, now I am bawling at everything.
Got it. Yeah. I did also, like, read in this article about desensitization and, like, I guess in, like, with media and then also in society that it can be used as well to treat phobias. So they were saying, like, therapists help people imagine things first and then make them do it, so they become desensitized. Like, if you have a fear of something, to expose them to it, imagine them in it, then they actually do it for them. So then it kind of just becomes, like, lesson in their mind because they constantly are around it.
Okay, I can see that.
And they said it's been multiple studies. Like, they said, like, it's an impact in, like, people being desensitized to stuff from COVID, especially because when you do hear the news, you hear numbers and you're not associating that with an actual person.
Yeah, no, I feel like COVID, they'd be thrown on these big numbers.
And you're like, so many people died, but it's like, those were lives. Those were people who had dreams and thoughts and families and stuff like that, but you're not getting used to it clicking. But also doing this outside of, like, TV's movies, and then I know we had a conversation off camera about, like, songs, which I felt like were more ambiguous because we were more like breakup songs.
I know.
Or less songs to cry to.
I know. I remember we got like a nice little, I feel like when we put on a social media, like what's everyone's cry to song, I was surprised with how many like responses we got. So I feel like maybe not a song definitely about death, because I feel like it was hard to think of one off the bat, but I feel like there are those songs where it's just like, okay, this is what I need to put on right now to just be in my feelings and like get through my drive and just like cry it all out.
Yeah.
And I feel like everyone kind of has one of those.
Yeah, I think we all do. But I also think like with social media is where, like, because we said like in media, and I think like I was going towards like TV, movies, shows, whatever. And now I'm like, social media, what a fucking joke. Because everyone is desensitized on there. Think about it. That submarine that was lost. All eyes were on that soda can.
We were like, we're all going to hell.
And the whole internet was going to hell because we all made fun of those people.
Yeah, and the fact that there was like a countdown to when their last like breath was going to be. Yeah.
And like just to go see the Titanic. I mean, silly story, and like RIP to those people. They did lose their lives and they had families and stuff, but people were really siding with the son who went for his dad because he was the minor and like this was not his idea, but like everyone was making fun of that.
I know.
And I'm like, maybe because it was the scenario, like people just thought it was a silly idea. Like, why would you go down there to see this? But
I think it's the unrelatability too.
That's true too, because you had so much money and like, why would you spend it on that?
Where we're all struggling with like,
when we all are like this economy.
Yeah.
But like people died.
Yeah.
Period. People died, and like I'm like the whole world is desensitized. And then also thought about like, and I'm not sure if this is really like, well, I guess it is a form of grief. The what's that lady's name? She's over there in London. She has cancer and everyone was looking for her.
Oh,
she had one missing. Is she a princess?
Yeah.
Kate.
Princess Kate. Yeah.
Yes, when everyone was like sleuthing the internet. This is the last time. This was a doctor picture. I'm like, y'all forced that lady to come out and tell us she had cancer.
No, I know. I feel like the pressure of social media alone. Because I mean, I remember just us, like, I'm constantly texting, like, Leah, should we be posting this? Like, are we allowed to post this? Like,
I know. And I was kind of like looking at it too, like, I wonder where she is too. Like, I couldn't help but like see the TikToks and stuff. And I'm like, obviously she gets a diagnosis like that. She has a family. Yeah. And then like being in the public eye like they are, I'm sure they have like rules.
And stress doesn't make anything better ever.
Yeah, you got kids. And then now the internet is looking for you, and we forced her to do that. So I just thought those were like two social media, like we really are desensitized to people's feelings
maybe we are
and lives. Yeah. How do you feel like you are too? Because I participated in it a little bit. I didn't post, but
it's interesting to think that real life stuff is what we're more desensitized to. And I'm like, I can want like Land Before Time is gonna make me cry. So it's just interesting to think that entertainment is what we go to, like to let our feelings out. But when we go online and see all these real lives, we're kind of like, I wonder where she is.
I know. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we just need like some form of outlet to like release those feelings.
Yeah. With therapy. Shout out to therapy, because that's where we really let it all out.
Yeah. And people who watch this same show as you, because that's the first thing I go to. Like, do you watch TV? Have you seen the show? Because I need to know if you felt the same pain about like losing somebody.
Yeah 100%. Did you think of your outfit before we go?
Yes.
Your eternal outfit, Leah.
I think it's still the context. But your eyes are closed when you die, so I don't know.
Leah, you don't know how you're gonna die.
Oh, how I'm? You keep.
You need to watch Ghost.
Oh,
we need to get you on Ghost.
So. Maybe I'll be in Skims. I want to be in Skims.
Oh, snatch.
Like a nice loungewear outfit.
Yeah, Skims saves lives.
Did you hear about because the girl was a bullet. Right, it was a bra.
Yeah, I think it was a bodysuit.
Oh yeah, so I won't die. Yeah. Well, okay, I'll have eternal life. Today's episode is dedicated to Ella Mae Stanley, a.k.a. Ennui, my great aunt. Again, we're your bereavement babes, Leah and Rachel, and we'll see you on the other side.